Sometimes you see a stat so ridiculous, you almost don't believe it when you first see it. Rondale Moore, last year's rookie and second round pick for the Arizona Cardinals, finished the season with 435 receiving yards, but 438 yards after the catch. He had -3 total air yards before the ball was caught. For comparison, Justin Jefferson led the league with over 1,100, which means Rondale Moore averaged -0.1 yards before catch per reception. That's mind-boggling, but it does lead us to a discussion and some questions we have to answer. Is Rondale Moore really this one-dimensional? He plays the complementary role to D-Hop so well, but with Nuke being out for the first 6 games and Hollywood Brown being the other option, and more than likely not going to be suspended, but the Cardinals are going to have Rondale Moore take a huge step and be a massive contributor to the offense early on in the season. So what does that look like? We're going to have to take a closer look at how his game is going to have to adapt, at least early on in the season, and talk about how the Cardinals are exceptionally better since Kyler Murray got there, as he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league, but also how he has limited some of the things they're able to do on offense. There's obviously a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. The first thing we need to talk about is Kyler Murray, so the rest of the video makes sense. He's an exceptional talent, and he can do a lot of things almost no other quarterbacks can do. But something he can't do, or rather is just poor at, is throw over the middle of the field in structure. Alex Rollins NFL did a great video covering this, and I highly recommend checking it out if you want the full depth. But in summary, Kyler doesn't see well over the middle of the field. He consistently doesn't throw to open targets over the middle, but he loves throwing to really anything outside the hashes, especially alert routes on big targets in man coverage, and his heat chart from the 2021 season shows us just that. He loves throwing to big-bodied receivers down the sidelines, and he's really good at it. And he also has this baseball-like release to get the ball out quick into the flats to let his guys get it out in space and run. So knowing this about Kyler, it makes a ton of sense why they traded for Deandre Hopkins, picked up AJ Green for their size, and drafted Rondale Moore with all the things he's able to do in the short game. And putting pieces around Kyler that accentuates what he does so well for the Cardinals is why they've been able to be so successful on offense. So now let's look at what Rondale Moore did at Purdue, because he did a lot of things that we see him do on the Cardinals now. Catch the ball at the line of scrimmage and go, these touch pass jet sweeps, tunnel screens, just anything to get him the ball on the outside so he can do his thing. But this wasn't all he did. He did a lot more things at Purdue that we just haven't seen him do on the Cardinals yet. So let's check out a few of those things now. And we start to see the advantages if you can get the ball to Rondale Moore in structure over the middle of the field when he has a full head of steam. We saw him consistently in college be able to work the seams, catch a slant route over the middle of the field, and then be able to make the defense look silly. I know he's not the biggest target over the middle, but when you can get the ball in his hands full speed ahead, it can do a lot more damage than if you just toss it to him when he has no momentum at all. And if the Cardinals are expecting him to take a huge step in this offense, I think you're going to have to start implementing some of these things. And he's not going to be this huge target that's going to go up and win 50-50 jump balls. But if you find him in man coverage, he's going to be able to beat his man over across the middle of the field on in-breaking out routes, long crossing routes, and even on the outside, if you find him in man coverage, a lot of DBs in the NFL aren't going to be able to keep up with his speed. And he has really good hands. We saw him make that exceptional catch against the 49ers on the sidelines, so he's more than able to do these things down the field, but we just haven't seen that yet. But if we're going to want to see him take that next step in this Cardinals offense, the Cardinals are going to have to start implementing some of these ideas. But now that their best receiver is going to be out, they're more than likely going to have to find other ways to get up and down the field. And as we saw, Rondale Moore is absolutely capable of doing more than what he was doing as a rookie. But Kyler not liking to throw over the middle, and as Alex Rollins in his video shows some example of not being able to see over the middle, if he's missing 6'6" tight ends in structure, I don't know how 5'7", 180-pound Rondale Moore is going to make it work. And we did see a few rare examples of them trying to hit Rondale Moore over the middle of the field, and it didn't work out too well. So let's check out those examples now. And it's not like Kyler Murray never throws it over the middle of the field, but watching Cardinals games back, you'd be surprised how rare it is to see passes like these. But I think Cliff Kingsbury needs to sit down with Kyler and shows him how effective this is and how much it opens up other things on the offense. And now let's check out the only 2 times in the first 6 weeks of Cardinals games that I watched back when Kyler tried to hit Rondale over the middle of the field. And yes, you heard that right. In the first 6 games, Kyler Murray only targeted Rondale Moore 2 times over the middle of the field in structure. And the first one we're going to check out isn't even as much over the middle of the field, but it is past the line of scrimmage and it wasn't an outbreaking route, so I'm just going to count this. So technically there's really only one, but he's going to sit down on here. Kyler Murray kind of eyes it down the whole time. He's going to throw it and it's going to get intercepted. So that was the first one. And the second one was against the Browns. The Browns are going to jump into some sort of zone and Rondale Moore is going to try and catch a slant over the middle of the field. And not to say Rondale Moore has Tyreek Hill speed, because Tyreek is 1 of 1, but he is very, very close to that. But he gets right on his toes. He's going to break in, and they just don't end up connecting on this. But we see something like this, and we think about all the possibilities if he's able to catch this, get past the first guy, and now it's just one-on-one with him and the safety. This has a huge chance to be a 55-yard touchdown. So at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a completely different offense when D-Hop gets back on the field in week 7 compared to what it's going to look like weeks 1 through 6. Because as we saw last year, things open up when Nuke is out there, but I don't think Rondale Moore is the one-dimensional receiver that we saw last year. But the Cardinals used and abused that one dimension of his game all year long, and the other dimensions of his game are going to be really tough to utilize so long as Kyler Murray is out there. So what do? I think Cliff is going to have to sit down with Kyler and find out more ways to start working the middle of the field, but I think more than likely it's going to be a guy like Zach Ertz or rookie tight end Trey McBride, which would allow Rondale to continue what he does best. But since they know they're going to have to get Rondale Moore the ball down the field more often, they'll more than likely do a lot more rollouts or play action boots where Rondale Moore is running across the field so he can catch the ball going full speed like we saw at Purdue, and it's just another way to get him the ball down the field. And just hope that AJ Green has enough in the tank still to be the buffer on the outside till D-Hop can get back. And they have to figure something out. The Cardinals can't afford to have a slow start to the season in this division, as we saw how much Deandre Hopkins missing time last year hurt them, as they were 7-3 with Hopkins and 3-4 without him. But I think with a full offseason knowing this information, I believe that they'll figure out ways to make it all work, because Cliff is one of the more innovative play callers that we have in the league today. It won't be a situation like last year where they got completely blindsided and have to rework their offense overnight. But let me know what you think. I think it's really cool how we were able to have a whole discussion about the Cardinals offense just based off of this one stat, which was still just so mind-boggling to me. But make sure to like this video if you like videos like these. Comment down below what you think about Rondale Moore and how they're going to have to incorporate him in the offense in more unique ways. And make sure to subscribe if you enjoy daily sports content. Thank you all so much for watching. That is going to be it for me today. But as always, I will see you all tomorrow. Peace!